For radio buttons and checkboxes, you can use them. For radios and checkboxes, you can use them. There are so many, but they are very simple to use actually. Means designing forms and working with the forms simple. I will just show you an example how we can use these options. These are used for making the forms more better. In appearance, they can be more better, right? Let's see how we can add the forms and configure the forms. Let's check that. So I will add a new file here and keep this as forms.html. Let's design a simple form. So doc type HTML head title and forms. So we are just configuring here forms. Let's see. So how to design the form? Yeah, let's keep the body section in the body section. So let's create a simple form tag. Let's create a form tag and a header, some register user or register user. Now inside this form we will create a div. So in this div, so we have a label username, and under this we have a div. For entering username we need a text box. Input type is equal to text. Okay, so that is one simple option. This is one group actually. This is related to username. For username we have this. Now similarly for this is one category. Generally what happens is, first I will show you without applying effects how it will look like, then with effects how we can manage. Okay, and similarly another div. This is having a label password, and under that label we have input type is equal to password. Now we have two categories, one category for username, another category for password. Generally what happens, you can see the appearance will be like this. That means now both categories will be like this. I will keep some effects for the form, right? So I will keep a style and a form, just so width as 300 pixel and padding some 20 pixel and margin auto and border 2 pixel, some solid and dark cyan, and box shadow some 2 pixel, 3 pixel dark cyan. Okay, and background color so some yellow. Okay, that is for the form. So some I will give some light yellow. Okay, and margin top we will put 50 pixel and opacity transparency 0.8, so points. And body, for body section I will put some background image, so URL, so background image URL, so some images in that shoe.jpg. You know, background position I will put as background position we will put as center and center, background position center, and the background repeat as no repeat. We learned all these options. And background attachment as fixed is the attachment. Okay, now wherever labels are there, I will put font weight as bold. Okay, now you can see it looks like this. This is the form, and that's okay. This is the form, but here username, password, text boxes, it doesn't look better. I will just put here border radius is some 10 pixel. It will give a curved border. But observe here is these two categories are just one below another. Now here, generally, if you are displaying username one category, password another category, maintain them in separate divs. And for this div, you can use a class form group. So usually form group contains a label and its control and its related some other content. Now second one, this is also a form group. This is also a form group. So we are configuring that form group here. And when I use form group, now you have some little space adjusted for that. So that will be applied when you link the bootstrap. Link relation is equal to style sheet, and href is equal to node modules bootstrap dist css bootstrap.css. Now I will use this body as container fluid, class as container fluid. Okay, now it looks better. Now you can see here the space is correctly adjusted. Username one category, password another category. For every category, better use form group. And for controls like text box, password, and control like city, suppose I will use another div. So class for this, again the class as a form group is the class, and label I will give as some select city, and inside div and select is just a drop down, and option as Delhi, so option as Hyderabad, like this. Usually they look in this way. This is the look. Now the controls like text box, like password, like drop down, for such for such controls, what you have to do is you have to go to this text box. You can use a class called form control. You can use form control. For every control, you can put the class as form control. You can use form control. And even for drop down also, you can use the class form control. So you can see that now appearance looks better. A form control have width adjusted to the border, and you can see the rounded corners, rounded radius, border radius will be there for controls. All have correct even size, width and height also. That makes a good appearance. For the form. So for all type of controls, you can use form control. For example, for some controls like I will add another div here and class form group. If you are using, suppose label as some age, if I am using input type is suppose I said price range. Okay, price range. Input type is equal to range. Then this is input type range actually, and better what you do is in a div. So input type range. For this, don't use form control. So it have a special option, form control range. You have a special option, form control range. You can apply form control range. Then range will have separate style. Width will be 100% width adjusted. For that, better use form control range, from control range, especially for such range options. And if you are trying for radios, checkboxes, so then for radios and checkboxes, so better use form check input, right? That means suppose you see another div I am giving here. So another div, and let's put the class as form group, and in this we have a label and defined choose gender, and here added that div, and here I am giving input type is equal to, so we need a radio input type equal to radio, and name is gender, something like this we define. We added name gender. Now for this we will put label as male. Similarly, another input type is equal to radio, and name is equal to gender, and label is equal to female, like this. And you can see these options are displayed in this way. But for radios and checkboxes, usually we have separate classes. For radios, what you can do is you can apply a class form input check input. You can use form check input. This you can use for checkbox or radio. Class as form check input. Form check input. Now you can see they will be displayed in this way. Similarly, labels also you have to maintain. So for labels, we have to use a class called form check label. You have to use form check label for the labels. Not only that, you have to maintain a separate group for them. That means you need to make sure that they are present in a group. Actually, so when you are defining such options, for every category we have to maintain a div actually. That means this is male, and for that maintain a div for this male. Okay. And this is female, and maintain a div for this also separately. So then actually this is male and this is female, separate groups are there. Generally, if you can maintain a separate group from them, right, and you can see initially it will display like this, one below another. If you want side by side, so you want side by side to keep any group, usually we use an option called this div male and another one is female. Both divs we need to keep side by side. Generally, to display side by side, we use the option as form check inline. That means usually this is the div for male, and beside that we need another div separate we need to maintain. Then we have inline option. Inline means it will keep the contents side by side. If you give the option inline, it will keep the content side by side. So generally how you maintain is we have to put an option class as form check. You have an option inline, that is form check inline. So we have to define this form check inline. You have form check inline, then the same here also. So class as form check inline. Now they will be side by side correctly arranged. You can see separate side by side correctly arranged. So for that, if you don't want inline, then you can just leave the divs, because divs will be line below one below another. If you give inline, it will display that inline, right? The same you have to do for checkbox also. Same you have to do for checkbox. So you have to maintain a separate group, and for checkbox also for one category. So you have to put form check inline, and the same options we have form check label and form check input. For radios and checkboxes, we use form check input. Don't use form control. Sometimes see, if I use form control, I am using. When I use form control, then you can see that. So that checkbox is not correctly placed here. Radios are not correctly placed. So they doesn't suit for radios. For radios, you better use form check input. Form check input will be better. So don't use form controls. All other options, you can maintain form. This is a simple. And of course, suppose you have file input also. For that we have a separate option. That means suppose I will give another div. So class as form group, and here we have a label. And I will give the name upload some photo. And here in a div, so we have input type is equal to file. For file input, don't use form control. We have separate class. So we have form control file. We have to use form control file. That is good for displaying these file upload controls. For file upload control, that is good. Right? We given a simple form. In the background, we have an image, and that is fixed. The form is scrolling, and we have different appearances here. For the forms controls, we have simple form group for categories, form control for text box, password, number, drop down, list box, text area. Use the class form control. Only for range, you have input range. Only for checkboxes and radios, we have form input, check input, we have check form check label. Two options are available. Right? You can arrange the content here. Button, so you know the button. So I'll use another div. So is with the class form group, and in that we have a button. And here you define as suppose registered, and you know the button classes we already learned. So we will use BTN primary and a BTN block. It will fit to the width and it will display like this. Right. This is a simple form, how we design the form. So when you are designing the form have separate set of classes. By using bootstrap classes, we can apply all these classes and make the form more better in appearance. But actually, in some websites, you will see that form is used with a combination of input group actually. Input group is also very popularly used with form concept. Input group is nothing but you observe, suppose websites like I'm opening a website like some Amazon. In this Amazon website, you see at the top you have a form, search box form is there. This search box form, it is a form only, but it looks like all are combined into one box, but actually all are separate. So actually all are separated, but look like all combined. Generally, sometimes people ask this, like, sir, in the text box, how to put the search button? Actually, search button is not inside text box. It is just beside text box. Right? Many people, by seeing this, they think like inside the text box there is a drop down. Inside the text box there is a search button. No, actually all are separate. Inside text box you can't put any controls. All are separate, but they look like combined as one unit. That we can design by using input group. Input group in Bootstrap allows you to design the forms as look like a one control combined into one unit actually. For that we have classes like input group. We have input group prepend and input group append. Input group append. What is it? I will tell you. Prepend, append, and input group text. Only these are there. Input group text. So actually, input group prepend means left side. It means actually prefix. Append means right side. That means suffix. If you want any control to combine in the suffix, means towards right side, you have to use append. Towards the left side, you have to use prepend. And for text, we have to use input group text. I will show you. You can clearly understand it, right? Let's see. It's very important and it very regularly used in websites actually. So let's copy, head section. Yeah. Let's design an input group and see. I'm creating a new input demo.html. So doc type HTML and HTML and head, and we have the bootstrap. So class container flow. Okay, and let's keep here all the styles and see here heading. I will show you what is input group append first. What is append first? Okay, you can see what is append. So we are designing a div. Okay, in that we have input type is equal to email. Okay, so class as form control, because already for controls I told you form control we will use form control. Okay, that is email, input email. Okay, now that is the text box. Now beside that text box use a div, and here we will put a span. So at the net gmail.com, say placeholder email ID. Actually it looks like this. That looks like this. You see, form control means this gmail.com and this control, it will come below, because you given in a div, it will come below. But I want this div to attach to this text box. First, what we will do is this entire we will define in a class called input group. We have to define input group. Okay. Inside input group, this is normal control, left side. This span should attach right side. Then we have to use a class called, input group append. We have to use append. If you want to fix it right side, append. Now observe carefully here. When I say input group append, you see it comes right side. It comes the right side. And I want a special appearance for that text. Then for this span, we can use the class input group text. Input group text. We can use input group text. Input group text. Input group text will keep like this. You can see right side, the gmail.com. It is looking like it is combined actually. It is combined. So that means now you see like this text box is attached with this actually. So this is, if you know this is append. Prepend means left side. If you want to keep anything left side, then you can use prepend. You can use both prepend and append, your wish. If you want, you can use both prepend and append. I will show you here. See, I will use another heading. Okay. Suppose I said input group prepend. Let's design a div. In the div, I am just using first a span and ampersand hash 8377 semicolon. That will give an Indian currency symbol. Below that, I have a div and input type is equal to text. And here I will keep a placeholder as enter price, a price, product price, something like this, product price. Okay, you can see that in the design it looks like this, ampersand hash. Okay, it looks like this. I will put this text box as form control. Form control is for text box. It looks like this. I want this rupee to attach left side. Actually for this we have to use the class. This is input group text. It is text. For text, use always input group text. And this control, that is the text box, should add towards the right side or left side. You need to adjust that. So if it is text box, it is an ordinary text box. This is text box. Text box we keep right side. Okay. Then no need of div here. Text box we will keep right side. Actually, it looks like this now. It looks like this. It will be like this. Now I want this text box and this rupee symbol to be added towards the left side. That means now this span we keep in a div, and we will use here class as input group. First input group. Okay, and this will prepend. We will put a class called input group and prepend. Prepend means left side, and the text box will be right. And you can see that it will display like this. That means the price here. Suppose you see sometimes prepend, append, both you can give. After the text box, I am adding one more div. Inside that, I will put a span. And here I will put a class as input group text again. Input group text. Okay. Here I will put 0.00 like this. Some just roughly are given. And now this should be right side. In the middle, we have text box, left side rupee symbol, right side these fractions. I will put a class as here input group append. This is right side append, left side prepend, and you can see right and left these values will come like this. That means you can put this combined. Now when you look at this kind of design, when you see this kind of design, now you can clearly design such Amazon thing. You have seen, we have seen in Amazon, they have this one. That means you can now design such things here clearly. We can design such things. So for example, in Amazon, you have seen, let's try to design that now. I think you can tell now how to design actually. Keep a div, okay. And for this div, first use a class as input group, okay. Input group, okay. In this, in the middle, we need a text box. So input type is equal to text. And class as form control. So first, so we have this form control. Means first we have a text box here. For like Amazon, we are creating a text box here. Okay. Left side of text box, we will keep a div. So, and right here we will put a select. We'll put a select, and select will have an option as all. It will have an option like electronics, something like this, and it will have option like fashion something. And right side of this text box, another div. Here we will put a button. And button should have a search icon. And we can get those icons from Font Awesome. Link relation is equal to style sheet, and href is equal to so node modules. In that bootstrap, not bootstrap. So I think we have directly fonts, right? Yeah, fonts css all.css. That is Font Awesome. And here I will put here a span. And class is FA, and FA search is there, search. And you can see it looks like this. Now for drop down, what you can do, class form control, okay, control. And for button, what you can give, so class as btn is the class for that. And I can just give as like btn outline warning, something symbol, outline warning. It looks like this. You see outline, that symbol looks like this. And for a drop down also, we will use form control, drop down have form control. But observe carefully, all are side by side, but they don't look like they are combined. Some gap is there between them. They doesn't look like they are combined. Now how to combine them? For drop down, so this is the div drop down. There we have to put a class called input group prepend. This is left side. And for button, we will put a class called input group append. We use append. Then they will be fixed with left and right. So we have to define input group prepend and input group append. We have to do. But actually, when you define input group prepend, usually what happens is there must be appearance like text. That means color is different. When you see here, the color is different. Those things we can manage. So what we have to do is, this is input group prepend, and here I want to give this as this control. This is a control. Instead of using control, I can just give as instead of form control, we will use as input group text. Input group text have a different background color, you saw that, and it has to display in this way. Now it looks better. Now it looks better, and you can see a drop down will come. This is a text box, and right side this will come. Of course, if I don't use this outline, so outline warning, so actually we can use, this is the button, that is the button appearance. Suppose I said BG warning, so warning, that it will be background warning, that will be fine. It depends on how you want. Now this is how generally we create input groups. Now you see input group append, input group prepend, input group both append and prepend. Sometimes people ask like, sir, can I have anything in between, middle, in the middle? Can we put anything in the middle? Yes, you can do. So in the middle, there can be some content. You can add left side, you can add right side. You can design custom. For example, I am creating here, so another heading. So custom, you can keep anywhere. Div, okay, here I said class as input group. Input group is the class. Left side one div, and right side another div. In the middle I defined so another div. So 3 divs are there. We are defining 3 divs here. So 3 divs are defined here. Now what happens is combinations we can give here. Suppose I am maintaining as a text box, that means here we said span, and I said at the net, right? This I defined like at the net. So this is in the middle, right? And left side I have a text box. Type is equal to text, and say class placeholder is equal to ID, email ID, and class as form control is the class. Okay, similarly below I have input type is equal to text, and this is also class as form control, and for this placeholder, so domain name, so something like this, domain name. Usually what happens is it looks like this, email ID at the net, domain name. Then what we do is, so for this we put a class as a input group prepend. This is left side, and for this we have to give text, so class as input group text, and this one will be right side. That means it will be class input group append right side. Now in the middle you can see this option will come here. Still some one important point is that actually it still looks little bit separated. You can observe carefully, it still looks little bit separated because this text at the net should work for both prepend and append. That means it should be append for email ID, it should be prepend for domain name. That means what we can do now here is, for this text box, we can add the option like input group append and input group prepend. Many times this question comes, is asked like, can I give both append and prepend for same element? Yes, you can give append and prepend for same element, especially when it is having content left side and right side. When it is having the content left and right side, then it can have. So that means you can see here, so you can see, so when you are defining, you give both append and prepend, then it looks like it is combined. it is combined. So little you see gap here. That means width. Yeah. You can see that it is having append and prepend both options defined. But actually, to define append, prepend options and configure the append, prepend options, usually you need to manage these options also, left side, right side text boxes. Suppose I am not giving append for this. I am not using append for this. Just it is a text box. Because it is just a text box and we want the content in the middle. So remove that. Okay. So remove that here. So here this is just a text box. And the same, I need to delete this also. It depends on requirement, right? That means what we are having here is a text box left side, a text box right side, and in the middle we are having this span, which will use both append and prepend. Then it looks like this. That means it will keep your content in this way. Now you have to use combinations. Depending on your requirement, right? So many times, so you can create your own custom. Just you have to use append right side, prepend left side, right? And you can use in the middle, left side, right side. Sometimes some people ask question like, can I use two append, two prepend, right side, left side? Yes, you can use. It doesn't matter. You can use two append, two prepend, left and right side. You can manage them. That's not a problem. You can handle that. Usually what you can do is you can keep all these multiple also. That means multiple means I will give another heading here, multiple. So multiple means we will keep a div here. So class as input group, we have to use an input group. Okay. And here we have a div. So this is having the option class input group prepend, means left side. And here we put a span. This is first name like this. And this is using the class as input group text. It is input group text. Similarly, another prepend input group text, and that will have option like last name. So last name. And here we have a text box. Input type is equal to text, and in that class as form control. So we have form control, and the placeholder we are giving first name and the last name. First name, last name, first name, last name. So both together placeholder. Just you can see it will contain like this. That means you can see that. So both options are here. First name and last name, just a symbol you can put in it. That means now two prepend are there. You can add any number, because many times these doubts will come regularly. Can I add in between? Can I add two left side? Can I add two right side? You can do that. So for that, you have to add these multiple options. These are input groups, and these you will see regularly in several websites. These kind of things you can design. And that I already showed you here, prepend, append. Just like Amazon, we created a toolbar. Width and height, you want how much width you want, where you want to keep, left side, right side. Because this Amazon, as we designed this Amazon, so this is just an input group, and in that input group you have all this content configured. Suppose for this I will give a class called Amazon. Amazon is the class. Sorry, some ID, because already class is there, right? I will apply an ID here, and I am writing the style. So style, and here hash, so Amazon
दोनों
ID
धोएगी
selected. So width as some 300 pixel like this. So that means we adjusted the width. You can see the width is adjusted. So suppose 500 pixels. You want to keep it in the center, you can keep in the center. So no, justify content center and all this. Suppose we have select is the drop down. Its width is some 100 pixel. That means the drop down width will be adjusted. Suppose it is 80 pixel, then you can change the drop down width can be adjusted. It depends on your requirement. So you can change the width, you can change the height, you can keep the content in the center depending on your requirement. Wherever you want, you can keep. So this is actually the option of input groups, especially when we are working with forms. Such forms are very regularly used to save the space so that we can keep everything in one line at one place. But important is they should look like they are combined into one unit. Usually such designs we have to create regularly. Suppose uploading the files and all such contents. Suppose I have a div here. Suppose file upload. Such things. Usually we have a div and we have a class as input group. Okay. And left side we have input type is equal to file. And the class for that is we have form control file is there, and beside that we have a div and we have a button, and button says upload. And for this button actually class is equal to, so btn and yeah, btn, and that is just button class, and btn suppose btn success we have defined. And you see usually it looks like this, file upload control. And here we are adding the class. So class as input group append. That means it has to keep it right side. And same here, the form control input file you have defined, you have to keep it in the left side. Suppose if I try this, like this is append and this is the text to display. Suppose I am trying another div, and here I will give the option as input group as prepend. It is not right for prepending here. You can see it appearance will be like this. But this is not having a color. File upload control will not have any color because actually this is just a browse button. So you cannot change the color for this browse button inside file upload control. For that, you have to manually design such controls. Of course, this file upload control, suppose it is having the color, suppose say BG, suppose I am saying success, BG success. Background success will come for this like this. It will show in this way. But the appearance of the button cannot be changed because it is a embedded control inside the HTML forms actually. HTML forms. That means we have to create such controls manually and use them actually. Right? So such problems will come, then we have to manually design. So because they are embedded into another element, so you cannot individually control them. That's the reason such type of drop downs, such type of navigation items we design custom. Our own we will create. Already we saw checkbox lists. So we don't have any ready-made list like that. So we need to create by our own and put them. These are all very regularly used options for input options. So once you know this, how to deal with this input, then these are all the important components you have to know in Bootstrap. Now, once we know all these contents in the Bootstrap, how to use Bootstrap components, now we can go into the concept of JavaScript. Now in JavaScript, we will use a lot of Bootstrap and we will design interactive applications. So that means we will learn JavaScript and we will learn interactive applications. JavaScript, we will learn language. Then we will use jQuery as library with combination of JavaScript language, jQuery library, we have to build applications. So we need to start understanding and working with JavaScript now. So that we will see in our next session, right? So tomorrow we are going to start JavaScript and we are going to learn the JavaScript language. But we will not use directly JavaScript because in real time JavaScript is used as a language for jQuery, for AngularJS like libraries and frameworks. So here we will learn language, then we will use jQuery with the JavaScript language to build application. That is the correct approach. So first we have to learn what is JavaScript, that we will see in tomorrow's session. Okay. Up to this, I will upload all the notes into our classroom, right? No.